All right, guys, we're going to talk about Season 4, Episode 6 of The Twilight Zone. So, Lee, what did you think about this episode?
I'm glad that guy didn't actually die down at the carnival or whatever he brought his kid to, and he was able to eventually go to space. Yeah, lived a long, fruitful life.
Had an odd couple situation, and then he went on to the Space Force.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
So this episode is interesting. So this episode is three men in like a classic flying saucer are investigating new lands to potentially, become planets that, we could inhabit. And they're doing this, and they see some little glint, and which almost like a rescue mirror type of scenario. And they stop, and they see a crashed spaceship, which looks remarkably like theirs. Yeah. And that's it's creepy. That looks like ours.
It looks like one of ours. I can't see the serial number.
But they're as far out as anyone's ever been, or whatever. So it can't be one of ours. All ships just look alike. And then when they go inside, they see their bodies inside.
Yeah.
At this point, I was really on board. I thought it was going to be cool. I thought there was going to be a thing kind of like the movie Moon. Have you seen Moon?
Don't spoil Moon for me. You keep trying to spoil Moon for me.
There's a movie Moon.
What I was hoping was that they were robots and like every ship had the exact same crew of these exact same three robots.
That's kind of what I wanted.
Are you spoiling Moon for me? Don't spoil Moon for me. No, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be really cool. I will tell you real quick, spoiler. I was also on board at this point. Then I was way not on board. And then at the last minute, I got back on board.
There's too many Twilight Zone episodes where it's like, and we were dead the whole time, like kind of thing.
I know,
and like, there's only so many times you can do that before I'm like, yeah, I know. Of course you were dead.
No. But this one is different because he like won't let them die. His force of will is like forcing them into this purgatory. I love that concept so much. As opposed to just like, oops, we're dead. Okay. He's dragging them away from like the light to like keep, like ghosts would like relive the same. He's doing that.
As they say, the Flying Dutchman angle.
But in space.
I thought it ended very abruptly and just like on the nose from Rod saying, and the blah, blah, blah. They were dead the whole time in the Twilight Zone.
When the one crew member says, just let us die, Sarge, or whatever, Captain, whatever. I was like, okay, that's too much. But once it like reset and did the whole thing, I was like, oh, this is like, I like the ending. I don't know that it's worth going through the middle. I feel like
no, this could have been a 22-minute episode.
I know.
Easily. I thought though, it honestly to me, it could have ended right when they got into space, and I've been like, ooh. Yeah. And that would have been interesting. I'd been like, oh yes, they were on a planet of psychedelic mind warping people. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
We made it out, yeah.
All right, now we got to go back. Why? Well, now that we know what it is, we can just go back. Because what if they would have never gone back? Would they have just been ghosts of space doing things, and eventually they would have got back to their land and been like, no one sees us. This is weird.
Well, the captain's obsessed with like figuring it out.
Yeah.
So then so he does go back. This is awesome. I don't know. I like that element of it a lot. I did not like, and normally I love this goofy shit with like he's dreaming about his wife and all this other stuff. I thought it like really like ground everything to like a halt and felt really weird.
Yes.
And it like reminded me of that French episode, but in like a bad way.
Yeah.
And I think they filmed the one thing with all the trees in the same place as the episode earlier this season when the guy's leaving and like the one town's been isolated forever and has all this technology. Those like rows of trees looked very familiar, and I'm like, you cheap pieces of shit.
Well, they only film within whatever amount of miles,
whatever they have
from
access
Los Angeles,
to, or whatever. Yes, exactly.
By law. But this is something where I think you had a lot of cool things you could have done. Like they could, even if they wanted to go back entirely, maybe they go back and there's a whole different, horrible vision of mind fuckery. But I thought it could have been interesting if he just was this very powerful of will guy and the shenanigans didn't work on him and he could see through it. Because I like the idea of him walking into that guy's like dream or whatever and like pulling him out. If it could have at the end cut to be like almost like a Blair Witch 2 ending where you saw like, no, you were just laying down outside and I pulled you out. You were doing this. Like you didn't actually disappear and go into the netherworld, just we couldn't see you walk past us because the mind fuckery was happening.
Exactly.
That could have been a really cool, interesting concept. And I don't think, I think it ended up being like, oh, it's a normal Twilight Zone. Like it didn't go one step above and beyond for me because it just roped back to the place we've gone before.
I liked it because it made me think that it was like advanced and doing something or like whatever.
Yeah.
And that like tricked me into thinking that's where we were going or whatever. And then it had a cool twist where it's just, and again, you're like, I don't like the twist, wasn't cool. But like, I actually would have liked them to do a little more into after it like reset to show that like, it's like Memento and that guy guys like learning how to keep it going forever and not have the right.
That could have been better too.
I had this weird vibe of like, oh, because Rod hints like how many times have they done it before? How many times will they do it again? And I'm like, oh shit, and like those thoughts make me go like, oh, I'm interested in this.
To me, it's like the twist is we ended poorly. like we had you going for so long. We made you think it was gonna be a good episode. Oh, got you. And I'm like,
Okay.
I thought it was interesting that like, because you first see the ship and there's some things that are cool about it, like how the seats form to your body. I'm like, that's cool. And you look at it, you're like, the ship is like a saucer, so it's like it's like a circle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, how do they travel at all in space in this thing? Because like what? Like it's just a circle. That's the whole thing. And then at one point, and like there's another room, and you're like, okay. Which doesn't make any sense at all, because then later they walk in a 360 opening all these windows and you see like out of everything. So I'm like, wait a minute. Where was that room?
They only went 270. The other place is I don't know.
But then there's a part where like they're like, we can't stay on this planet because the temperature is too cold. We're going to use all our power. And I'm thinking, must they have a crazy amount of power? They're traveling space as far as they've ever traveled before.
Don't be ridiculous.
And space is much colder than any planet.
Yeah, he was saying like we're not going to be able to run on low power, as you may hope, because we're going to have to keep doing that. So it's like saying, oh, like there's no bargain in like being here versus there or whatever. Right?
Yeah. Well, my thought
I understand
before,
your point, and like yes, they would have a magic fusion engine that bends space time or something like that. But
when they talk about the rations, we only have enough for like a couple months or whatever. And I'm like, okay, how's that work? So I'm like, oh, they must go into cryogenically whatever when they're going. They just freeze themselves. Don't have to take those things. But then they show, I'm like, oh, they have bunks and whatever. I'm like, they're actually just like a little military outfit here. How do they wash their sheets? I had all these thoughts. But they just didn't show you a lot of things.
Why
but
do
then
you see yourself?
When they do go out of the ship, there's like a bottom floor. It is much larger than it is not. When they land the ship, it just kind of hovers to the ground. When they take off, they need the rockets. And I was like, what kind of technology is this?
Not real, because this technology is not the point of the episode.
Yeah. Also, based on where like the propulsion comes from, I'm like, there's not much of a reason to be shaped like a saucer.
Yeah.
I still liked it. It had some quirky, like interesting visuals, but overall, I just thought it was kind of a letdown ending.
Yeah, no, again, my thing was the middle was a big letdown and like flat. Like I was ready to come in here and be like, this is pointless, I hated this whole thing or whatever, but the ending sold me on it, ironically
That's so strange to me.
Yeah.
I liked from the opening, I was like, this is going to be good because I like that guy. I'm like, he's a good actor. And like, space stuff, always fun.
This may be the last episode we see him in, right? Unless he's in anything else this season.
Yeah, I doubt he's in 2 in the same season.
Yeah. We've seen him in like 3, I think, though, right?
Yeah, total.
Yeah.
In 5 seasons, yeah.
Good for us. Good times.
Yeah. Maybe. All right, guys, that's our thoughts on this episode. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching Just Daggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.